And why are age trade lines so valuable? And the reason why trade lines are so valuable is because of time, right? The longer the credit account has been open for, the more on-time payments that it's going to have under its credit history. Since on-time payment percentage is the largest component of credit scores, when you add more payments to a credit profile, it increases the score and credit worthiness, therefore enabling the borrower to get more access to money from financial institutions. Now, the two main factors is going to be the credit limit as well as the age of the trade line. So how long it's actually been open. The age is going to have a much greater impact than even, let's say, a limit. This diagram right here is just an illustration on how you could basically determine the value of a trade line. So, as age increases, so does the price of it. So how much you'd probably be paying if you were to go through one of these, authorized user trade line sites. And so this is just a graphic. So as time increases, the price of the trade line is going to go up. Now, in this diagram, we're going to be talking about the best banks for authorized users. Now, to be honest with you, even though I love credit unions, when it comes to authorized user trade lines, the best banks for trade lines are going to be the major financial institutions. Discover allows you to add up to 5 authorized users at any given time, and they do report to all 3 credit reporting agencies. And I believe Discover is the best because Discover will actually report within the statement cycle. So usually when someone's added as an authorized user, you usually have to wait until next statement to update with the credit reporting agencies. But with Discover actually will report certain authorized users within the billing cycle. So you don't necessarily have to wait 30 days. I've seen cases where the authorized user might report within a 2-week period. TD Bank is another good one. Now, there's been some changes with TD Bank recently, but this is something that I found out very early on is that with TD Bank, they allow you to add up to 25 authorized users to your credit card account. Now, the way that TD Bank uses the information to report is that they match on name, date of birth, and address, not necessarily social security number. You also have Navy Federal Credit Union. Now, Navy Federal only allows 4 authorized users at any given time. Now, the one thing about Navy Federal is that they don't allow you to add and remove authorized users. So let's say, you had all 4 authorized users being utilized. If someone is removed from the authorized user account, you can't just replace it with someone else because Navy Federal requires that you have to wait a certain time period before you can add another one. So you also have Capital One. This is a really solid one. Chase is also good for authorized users. Now, you got to be careful with Chase because Chase will shut down your credit card account if they see that you're adding a lot of authorized users. And now here's another thing to be cautious of with authorized users because a lot of banks are starting to crack down on this. Now, authorized users are intended to be someone who actually is using the account. But let's say there's a whole bunch of authorized users on a credit card account, but there's no activity and they see that you're just, swapping them in and out. Chase will shut down your account. So that's one thing to be mindful of. Now, American Express used to be a really good one, but I would say maybe like 4 years ago, sometime around like 2018, they stopped doing backdated history. So if you're adding someone or getting added as an authorized user on an American Express credit card, it's going to report as a new account on your credit report. So the authorized user. And so you don't get that backdated history. So with American Express authorized users, the value is more so in adding the available credit to your credit report. Now, Bank of America is also good. Barclays, Citibank, HSBC, US Bank, as well as USAA. And now here are some pitfalls to avoid when dealing with authorized users. Now, again, this video isn't recommending or endorsing, or we're not telling you not to use authorized users, but these are just some things that you should be mindful of. Now, number one, if you are adding people to your credit card account as an authorized user, you have to be mindful of adding too many authorized users in a short period of time. Now, a lot of these trade line companies will tell you that it's going to report for 30 days or 60 days. But if the credit card issuer sees that a lot of authorized users are being cycled in and out, then that's a huge red flag and they may shut down your account. Number 2, adding people with stolen social security numbers or stolen identities. Now, this is one of the easiest ways to get your account shut down. Number 3, we already went over this, adding and removing accounts too frequently every 30 to 60 days. That's a huge red flag. Number 4, physically sending AU cards to the authorized user. Now, unless this is someone who is close to you, a family member or a child, or sometimes maybe you don't even want to give them access to your account, but you just want to add, let's say, your child or family member to help boost their credit. Now, number 5, we talked about this, dormant activity on an AU account. Now, credit card issuers generally expect the authorized user to be using the credit card that they were added to, because again, when multiple people are using the card, the credit card company is earning additional transaction fees. So when they see that, there's dormant activity or there's absolutely no activity on any of the AUs, sometimes they might shut that authorized user down. Number 7, too many authorized users with dispersed addresses. Huge red flag for selling AUs, because, if you have multiple people on your credit card account, but there's different addresses all throughout the country, that's a huge red flag that you're selling authorized users. Number 8, adding authorized users to a bank card where the person who was added previously defaulted. So American Express will actually deny an authorized user if the person that was added was previously blacklisted. So that's another thing to consider. Number 9, adding authorized users involved in criminal activity. Now, one of the things that you want to avoid is adding people who might have any outstanding, arrests or cases pending or any type of criminal activity, because what will happen, let's say someone's wanted by the police or they have an arrest warrant for them. A lot of these bounty hunters will do, or even the law enforcement agencies, they'll pull the person's credit report to see what addresses are associated with that individual. And so if you added someone as an authorized user and your address is reporting on their credit report, then they may actually come to your address looking for that individual. Last but not least, utilizing shady third-party trade line vendors, right? And so that's just something that generally I would say stay away from. Don't get into the business of selling authorized users, because you ultimately will put your accounts at risk and you have no idea who's being added to your accounts. Again, these could be criminals. These could be people using CPNs, stolen identities, and so forth. So anyways, I hope this information was helpful. Let me know your comments and questions down below. And until next time, take it easy and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.